year to dream. We gather here as another year begins. We pray you'll give us what we need. But this broken world needs our help to heal. Be a shining light and see your dream is realized. Baruch atah Adonai mevarech hashanim. Baruch atah Adonai. This is our year to dream.
Shana Tova. Good Yantif. Gemar Chatima Tova. These are the harder ones. I'm getting inundated you. I'm trying to protect you because you don't want to make this mistake that Bruce did last night and say Shabbat Shalom. It's very tempting, but if you do, we forgive you, as I said. Welcome here. We have the silver books tonight. It's so wonderful to have us here on this beautiful, gorgeous day. We thank all the people that helped in the parking and the security, and you have arrived. You are the ones who are on time, so we really love you guys. We are going to begin our service on page 135. At the bottom, we thank you. Please join with me. We thank you, living and eternal one, for morning light, for the breath within us, for strength and life renewed. Now it opens before us, this Sabbath of Sabbath, gift of spacious contemplation, mirror for the soul. May we see our lives reflected in this clear pool. A day apart, unhurried time, and undivided mind. Give us joy in this day that Israel shares. Give us presence and attention, clear vision, a listening heart. We wake to the morning, we open our eyes, we breathe your name. And we turn to page 178. I invite you to rise for the Baruch, our call to community. Standing, page 179. In this circle of community, in this hour of striving for faith, I believe in your majesty, your guiding presence within me. To you I turn on this day of spirit, seeking atonement, longing to hear your words, I forgive. Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto. Together, Holy One of might, your towering strength reaches from the heavens' heights to the human heart. Holy One of mercy, your forgiveness is profound and embraces all who turn to you. Holy One of Torah, the secrets you impart are radiant. They reach your people, your cherished ones. Blessed is God's glorious majesty. Holy One of the heart, you forgive us in our weakness. You pardon us in our strength. Holy One of strength, we praise your powers, the wonder of creations and redemption. Holy One of remembrance, you remember us with love, taking delight when we search our souls. Blessed is God's glorious majesty. Holy One of the Spirit, you accept our fast of repentance and breathe into us purity and goodness. Holy One of conscience, you remove our wrongs and reveal the ways of righteousness. Holy One of existence, your light is the glory of creation. Your mercy endures forever. Blessed is God's glorious majesty. Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto. In this circle of community, in this hour of striving for faith, I believe in your majesty, your guiding presence within me. To you I turn on this day, to the Spirit, seeking atonement, longing to hear your words. I forgive. And we continue with the Shema on page 188. Seated. Please forgive me, I meant 86, 87. We now turn to page 188. I invite up Lil Duquette and Sherry Jo Reich.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך ושינתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ושבתך ובקומך וקשרתם להיות על ידך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
We continue with the reading on page 107. Oh, see, I'm not doing too well. Okay, we continue on page 189. I'd like to invite up Liz Grady. Is she here? Oh, there she is. Hey, Liz. Page 189. Let me make sure I got the right page for you. Yep.
Ahavta, when you love Adonai Elohecha, body and soul, these things I ask of you will be possible. To answer your children's questions about me and believe your answers yourselves, to connect religion to your everyday comings and goings. For example, when you hug them in bed at night with tender words, Shema Yisrael, or when you think to say, Moda Ani, and the rush of getting them up and out in the morning to be alert enough to open doors for your children in every waking moment and when they dream. And finally, to remember just why all these things matter. They matter because I, Adonai Elohecha, brought you and your children out of Egypt to be God for you. I am your God, and when you do these things, I will be your children's God.
We continue on page 196 with the Mi Chamocha.
Mi Chamocha im Adonai, Mi Chamocha le'am hakodesh, Nafti ot
חדשה שברכו גאולים לשמך על שפת הים יחד כולם הודו והמלכו ויאמרו Israel, who taken a mech Yehuda Israel. God lendu, Adonai, Sivon Shemo, Kadosh Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, Ga'al Yisrael.
Amen. Page 198. In the depths of night, by the edge of the river, Jacob was left alone. In heartfelt longing in the temple of God, Hannah uttered her prayer alone. In the barren wilderness, in doubt and despair, Elijah found God alone. On the holiest day in the Holy of Holies, the high priest entered alone. We are bound to one another in a myriad ways, but each soul needs time to itself. In solitude, we meet the solitary one. Silence makes space for the still small voice. For the psalmist says, deep calls unto deep. From the depths of our soul, we seek what is most profound. I invite you to rise if you're able.
Adonai sifatai tiftach, uviagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise.
Page 200.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotinu v'Imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak ve'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el HaGadol HaGibur v'Hanora, Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim v'konei hakol v'zocher chasdei avot ve'imahot u'mevi geula lifnei bneihem liman shemo v'yavo. אתה אדוני. מגן אברהם ויצרתו בה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע. חיות הכל ברוך אתה אדוני.
ברוך וברוך שמו
מחיי הכל.
We turn to page 209 for the Unatana Tokef. We remember how fragile life is, how we look around the room, and we know not all of us will be here next year, and we celebrate just being here, and we celebrate, and how different it is from last year. Please read with me on 209. Today we call it by its rightful name, a day of dread, Norah Yom. We unwelcome visitor, for we want to live in a sunny world where God is love and all endings are happy. But the drumbeat sounds and the words tumble down, and even the angels tremble with fear. For all things are judged, and all things were past, and life ends in a heartbeat, and death knows our name. At the start of the year, in the season of truth, comes the day of remembrance. For all we forget and all we deny, and we fall on our knees in the depths of our hearts, for we know that the bell tolls for us. The words are old and the language was theirs, but the call is real and the message is ours. Take hold of your life while you still have the chance, for your story will end, and it might be this year in a way you don't know. Take hold of your life, make things right while you can, and don't miss the call of the day of dread. Page 210. And so a great shofar will cry Tekiah, a still small voice will be heard. Angels in a whirl of fear and trembling will say, behold the day of judgment, for they too are judged. In your eyes, even they are not blameless. All who come into this world pass before you like sheep before their shepherd. As a shepherd considers the flock when it passes beneath the staff, you count and consider every life. You set bounds, you decide destiny, you inscribe judgments. Page 212. On Rosh Hashanah, please join with me. This is written. On the fast of Yom Kippur, this is sealed. How many will pass away from this world? How many will be born into it? Who will live and who will die? Who will reach the ripeness of age? Who will be taken before their time? Who by fire and who by water? Who by war and who by beast? Who by famine and who by drought? Who by earthquake and who by plague? Who by strangling and who by stoning? Who will rest and who will wander? Who will be tranquil and who will be troubled? Who will be calm and who tormented? Who will live in poverty and who in prosperity? Who will be humbled and who exalted? Page 214. But through return to the right path, through prayer and righteous giving, we can transcend the harshness of the degree. We turn to the Kedusha, page 220.
נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי אהרון, ככתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זה אל זה ויאמר Adonai, Adonai, Adonenu, Ma'adir Shemcha, B'chol ha'aretz.
Baruch kevod Adonai, mimekorav.
Echad hu Eloheinu, hu Avinu, hu Malkeinu, hu Moshienu, ve'hu yashvienu, berachamav le'enei kol chai, ani Adonai Elohechem.
Himnon Adonai le'olam, Elohai Tzion, Gadol Adon, Hallelujah.
לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש, ושבחך אלוהינו, מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד, כי המלך גדול וקדוש אתה.
We continue now with our own private prayers through 250. Take time for your own reflections, and whenever you're ready, you may be seated. continue with our prayer for peace on page 250, Oseh Shalom. Before I begin my talk today, I wanted to show there has been a number of questions about things I said last night. I wore a t-shirt here on Yom Kippur, and just so everyone could see, people had asked what it means. We got Greta Thunberg, the 16-year-old, and it says, "Listen to the scientists." For those of you also were wondering what this meant, I saw Kyle, our head maintenance, was wearing it. It says, "Here I am, send me." Some of you still have them on your leaflets. And that's a verse from Isaiah, where God asks for someone who's going to go forward to solve the problems in the world. And Isaiah says, "Hineni shlachani." Here I am, send me. And the goal is to put this on your dashboard and to go out and make real change. Use it as a reminder that all of us have a capacity to do that. Okay. So, Shana Tova. I'm going to stand over here so everyone can see, because I need to use my hands a little bit. Okay, let's see how I'm going to do this. Okay. There are so many ways which we can show hate in this world. Some of you are familiar. If I go like this, especially with an angry face, you're probably going to know a little bit what I'm doing. What about if I go like this? Does anyone know this symbol? This is one of the hate groups out there, this 4 and 3. Or how about what I call kind of a Spock? This is another one you might have seen. You put this over here. But even more disturbingly, has anyone seen this symbol? What does this mean? Okay, not anymore. This means white power. Last week, the Anti-Defamation League put in 36 new hand signals that are used for hate. 36, which for the Anti-Defamation League, everyone understood 36 means double high. The doubling of the number 18, our number of life. How ironic it is. And I saw this in action in the Buffalo News this week. I was looking at one of the articles, and it described a family's visit to Universal Studios in Orlando, and they were looking through their pictures. They had taken a picture by a character I've never heard of from Despicable Me called Felonious Gru. Actually, I think he's one of the ones in the last Despicable Me. But apparently, he was quite despicable because he put his hand on the 6-year-old's shoulder and he made this symbol like that. And they noticed it, partially because of the ADL, and were very disturbed to see that in their family pictures. Just last week on Rosh Hashanah, Temple Beth Zion, right down the street, received a picture of a caricature of a Jew with different slogans on it. And luckily, people were able to step in and to take action, and nothing further happened. But it seems like this type of occurrence is happening more and more often. I talked to the Fines right before the service, Deborah and Ed, and they told me just in Germany 2 days ago there was an incident right by a synagogue over there in Germany. Jonathan Greenblatt, who is the head of the Anti-Defamation League, said this past June, "Here's a snapshot of what has happened over the past half a year. Attempted arson attacks against a Chabad house in the suburbs of Boston, an unexploded Molotov cocktail thrown in a shul in Chicago, kids taunting their Jewish classmates with Heil Hitler and drawing swastikas on lockers, not just in one school or one state, but in schools across the country. Cemeteries desecrated, synagogues vandalized, museums violated, and almost daily reports of a Jewish man or woman being verbally harassed or physically attacked in Brooklyn." He continued, "Now, in my position, I deal with these statistics and stories behind them every single day, but make no mistake, I know this is not normal. This is something we have not seen for decades, for generations." Here at Shir Shalom, we talk about this, and Bruce often says, we are a welcoming community, but hate is not welcome here. I love it when Bruce says that. And we have in our front, and I'm sorry I took it off, we have this sign you might have noticed, "Hate has no home here." And sometimes we think of hate as being out there. Hate has no home here in this building. We'll keep it on the outside. But on this day, we know that we also say this, hate has no home, and we mean it also here. We try to keep hate at bay, even from our own hearts. And you might be thinking, well, hate doesn't exist here in our community. We're a loving community. So I'm going to give you an example to show you how easy it is to spring up in the world, in this room. So I have here Chizki that I showed you last year. This is our buffalo, and it gives us a warm feeling to have Chizki in the room. It's a sign, as I said last year, of buffalo. Now, in a couple of weeks, this will mean more, but I also brought with me this from my hometown team. Sorry, Tide. I will be going to the game in a little bit, and if I wear this, if I take this to the game, everyone will be cheering. If I wear this to the game, which I don't think I'm necessarily going to do, people will be very upset. For those of you not sports fans, this is the Philadelphia team, the Eagles, and we'll be competing against them. See, now you understand. See, exactly my point. Hate is not always as far away from us as we think. Sometimes it is right in here. And we spend this day on Yom Kippur trying to use strategies to get it out of here so that we can really love and be together as a community. So before I explain how to get rid of it, a little bit about why it's there in the first place. First, a rabbinic understanding. For the rabbis, it boils down to a basic flaw in the human structure. The rabbis understand that there is something in this world that some of you are familiar. It's called Yetzer Hara. Yetzer Hara it's called the evil inclination. Only actually, it's not evil because we need it. It's part of what goes into, well, making other human beings and also making anything in this world. The evil inclination, this Yetzer Hara, is what inspires human beings, but it also can lead them astray. And the rabbis tell a story, actually in the tractate of the Talmud, called Yoma, which has to do with Yom Kippur. And the story is about a group of rabbis who decide they're going to go get rid of the Yetzer Hara. It's Yom Kippur. We don't need it here. We'll just get rid of it. So they do what rabbis do, just like what we're doing here. They fast. They fast not for 1 day or 2 days. They fast for 3 days. And finally, God says, all right, I've had enough. So God sends the Yetzer Hara out of the Holy of Holies in the form of a fierce lion. Not a American bison, but a fierce lion. So they immediately put the lion in jail to decide what they're going to do. And they're ready. They're ready to get rid of it. But one of the rabbis, it says in the Talmud, he says, you realize that if we kill it, meaning the lion, the Yetzer Hara, the world goes down. So what does that mean? Well, they explain, because they wait 3 days again. 3 is the magical number. And they're going to decide after that moment. And they go looking on these 3 days for eggs to eat. And they find not a single egg in all of Israel. In other words, that this Yetzer Hara, which is supposed to bring hate and evil into this world, also has stopped them from being able to get their eggs in the morning, which is not a fun thing. So the rabbis believe there's a Yetzer HaTov and a Yetzer Hara, the good and the bad inclinations that sit on our shoulders. And we know this from Mickey Mouse. Because if you've seen, remember the old Dickie, and I'm afraid my kids don't even know this reference, so that's really scary. But Donald Duck, of course, has the devil Donald and the good, the angel Donald, and they argue with him and they try to encourage him. That is kind of the Jewish version of why hate exists and why it's hard to get rid of. Now, ironically, actually, the scientific version, which I'm also going to tell you, is not so dissimilar. They also believe in kind of 2 different parts of the human psyche. And I get this from Jonathan Haidt. His name, I think, is pronounced more like height, but I think it's kind of cute that his name is Haidt when I'm talking about hate. Okay, so he has a book, Righteous Mind, and he talks about the impulses that we have inside of us. He talks about 2 animals. The first is a chimpanzee, and this chimpanzee, according to him, is the most selfish animal in the world. If you might go to the zoo, you like watching the chimpanzees, you think, well, they're doing something altruistic. No. Anything that they've ever done, they've proven a chimp is always doing it only for its own satisfaction. On the other side, the Yetzer HaTov, if we will, this good impulse, is the tiny little bee. And why is that on the other side? Because a bee will do anything for its hive. It's a completely selfless creature. So we have these 2 different things. And the problem, it's not this even talking in our ears like we have in the Jewish version. He would say that 90% of us is the chimp, and 10% of us is the bee. And you might say this is not a very fair fight. If we're going to have the chimp standing on one side of us screaming "Ooh, ooh, ooh, ooh," in our ear, and the bee buzz it a little bit, maybe we're a little afraid of it, telling us what to do, that's probably not going to convince us to act the way that we want. But we actually crave the bee. There's something about the bee that transforms us as human beings. And he quotes Emil Durkheim, who talked about something called the hive switch, or what he also, I love this word, collective effervescence. That there's something at the bee that we can be transformed in rooms just like here, where we don't feel like individuals, but we feel part of a group. And he writes, the very act of congregating, what we're doing today, is an exceptionally powerful stimulant. Once the individuals are gathered together, a sort of electricity is generated. Isn't that what you feel right now? From their closeness, and quickly launches them to an extraordinary height of exaltation. And Haidt in his book quotes an army officer who says that while they're in the army, they don't feel like an I, they always feel like a we. It's wonderful, right? It's wonderful to be like a bee. And it's exactly what we hope to achieve. But like the Yetzer Hara, this evil inclination, it can also be used against us. Not only do religions and sports teams take advantage of this bee, but so do dictators and evil people in this world. The tendency to pick size pertains to so many different aspects of our lives, our nationalities, ethnicities, religions, and even synagogue affiliations. While some of this can be just playful banter, it is easy to verge on the destructive. Hate tentacles are long, and none of us are immune. So now that we know a little bit from the rabbinic perspective and the scientific perspective where hate comes from, how do we get it out of here? So on Yom Kippur, we're given clear guidelines on how to keep hate at bay. First, we apologize. That's always a good thing because our instinct sometimes works against us. We're supposed to apologize not just for the things we know that we've done wrong, but also for the things that we don't even know that we've done wrong. So much of our behavior is based on suppositions and assumptions. Simple gestures and words can mean so much, right? We offend even without realizing it. The tradition in Judaism is to go up to anyone and everyone that we encounter and say, if I have ever done anything wrong, please forgive me. Secondly, if at all possible, and it's not always possible, we forgive. Not necessarily for grave offenses, but for the smaller daily variety. We forgive not only one another, but more importantly, because I think that that's key to getting hate out of our heart, we forgive ourselves as well. And third, we do what we do here. We remember that we are a we, not just an I. We exist as part of a group. As Rabbi Danya Ruttenberg tweeted in an August tweet, our liturgy is written in the first person plural, not I, we, because all of our fates are tied up together. It's not about me, my personal individual spirituality, but us, who we have been individually as part of the collective and as a collective. You might not have noticed it, but it's actually, as Danya alludes to, it's embedded in our prayer. And you probably have heard it, but you didn't necessarily know what it was. It's two Hebrew letters that we say quite a bit, a nun and a vav, nu. Have you heard that in our service? Nu. It's at the end of a lot of our prayers, and it means we. We say it in Ashamnu, Hashivenu, return to us, and Aleinu, we are responsible. Each of us is made B'Tselem Elohim. This is the most important Jewish principle, in the image of God. Each of us deserves each other's love and respect. And later today, we're going to read the most famous and important line in the Torah, the Golden Rule, V'ahavta l're'echa kamocha. We shall love your neighbor as yourself. Re'echa, this neighbor, is not just your direct neighbor across the street. It's in other words, someone that you know well. These are people who are different from you, the stranger in your midst, maybe even the Eagles fan. People that don't share our political or views or cultural patterns, the one you have always been taught to hate. In order for society to work the way it is supposed to, we must go beyond our boundaries to love the person who is different from ourselves. So now back to our sign. Hate has no home here. The dueling impulses inside our heads, the Yetzer Hara and the Yetzer HaTov, the chimp and the bee, will try to pull us on different sides, telling us the people on the other side of the fence are wrong. We must not allow this thinking to take root in this room. So what is the solution? How do we make okay, okay? How do we go back to doing the things that show that we love and respect one another? So we make our own collection of signs and symbols, and we turn what I say the Spider-Man symbol into the symbol for love. This is what we do in our family. You'll see our family do this quite a bit. This is the sign language. Or, I really love you. That's what I really love you. Or how about, I hear you. I understand you. There are so many ways to express hate in this world. But there are also so many, many more to express love. It's up to us to use these tools to our advantage. And it's time we say to hate that not only does it not have a home out there, but in here, in our hearts as well. May we all be written and sealed in the book of life, an easy and meaningful fast. And as Brian said, I offer to all of you. Take a moment, give each other the I love you, or whatever symbol that you use in your own family. Show each other. All right, we're going to collect together. There's too much love in this room. It is too much. We cannot hold services under this type of environment. Okay, we have Rob Lederman to read for us on page 251.
Let the reading of the Torah be like prayer, a meditation to remind us what we strive for, a chant that binds us to the chain of generations. Let the reading of the Torah be like prayer, a moment of purest solidarity with our people's hopes and history, an invitation to affirm or dissent, to challenge or believe, to ask why or say amen. Let the reading of the Torah be like prayer, flowing like waters that renew the spirit, refreshing and sweet to nurture the soul. Let the readings of the Torah be like prayer, every word a blessing, every verse a conversation with God.
We're going to turn now to we have ark openers on page 252 and 253 for Avinu Malkeinu. And our ark openers are Sharon and Barry Krebs. As they open the ark, we rise. And we're going to read together on 252 and 253. I will read responsibly. Avinu Malkeinu, almighty and merciful, hear our voice. Avinu Malkeinu, have compassion on us and our families. Avinu Malkeinu, help the reign of those who cause pain and terror. Avinu Malkeinu, renew for us a year of goodness.
Avinu Malkeinu, let our hands overflow with your blessings.
Avinu Malkeinu, let our eyes behold the dawn of redemption.
Avinu Malkeinu, we pray, do not turn us away from you with nothing.
Avinu Malkeinu, welcome our prayer with love, accept and embrace it.
Avinu Malkeinu, act toward us as befits your name.
Avinu Malkeinu, act for your sake, if not for ours.
Avinu Malkeinu, you alone are our sovereign.
Avinu Malkeinu, let the gates of heaven be open to our prayer.
Avinu Malkeinu, hear our voice, treat us with tender compassion. compassion.
And together, Avinu Malkeinu, almighty and merciful, answer us with grace, for our deeds are wanting. Save us through acts of justice and love.
Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Hanenu, Hanenu, Yemanu Masim, Asei Manu, Tzedaka v'chesed, Asei Manu, Tzedaka v'chesed, v'hoshienu, Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Hanenu v'hanenu, ki emanu
And we turn to the Torah service on page 254. Hold on a second. Okay, let's see. Excuse me, sorry.
Let the reading of
Yeah,
Torah?
I don't think we have an honor
Yeah,
for that.
oh, there's a reading there if you
Okay,
wanted
so
to.
we could do it,
If you
yeah.
wanted to do it, if not.
Yeah, okay.
It's in
We'll
the
do it
program.
together. No one's supposed to read that, right? Okay. Let the reading of the Torah be like prayer, a meditation to remind us what we strive for, a chant that binds us to chains of generations. Let the reading of Torah be like prayer, a moment of purely truth solidarity with our people's hopes and history, an invitation to affirm or dissent, to challenge or believe, to ask why or say amen. Let the reading of the Torah be like a prayer, flowing like waters that renew the spirit, refreshing and sweet and to nourish the soul. Let the reading of the Torah be like prayer, every word a blessing, every verse a conversation with God. And we continue, we're going to continue with Adonai, Adonai, which is on page 256, and we have three Torah carriers, Joe Glickman, Tom Lansing, and Dana Tina Ferber, four actually, and Isabel.
Adonai, Adonai, Eragu v'chanu, Erech Habayim, Rav Hesed v'yemet,
going to continue with the Torah reading now. And the Torah reading can be found on 266. We have our first reader, Laura Majeski. Is that? There you are, okay. Let's make sure we got the right place. Here we go. It's right up there. 10 minutes of me, right? Is that what you're reading? Yes. Okay. And Harvey Horowitz is serving as the Gabbai. We have our first Aliyah, Lori and Andy Abramovitz. There they are. Yamdu. And we do have the blessings up here, so you don't need to bring if you don't need. What you want to do, come on this side if you want to touch with your tallis.
Baruch et Adonai Hamborach.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen.
Amen. Atem nitzavim hayom kulchem lifnei Adonai Elohechem rashechem shiftechem ziknechem v'shotrechem kol ish Yisrael tapechem neshechem v'gerecha asher bekerev machanecha mechotev etzecha ad shoev memecha yovrecha bibrit Adonai Elohecha uve'alato asher Adonai Elohecha koreit imacha hayom למען הקמעותיך היום לא לעם והוא יהיה לך לאלוהים כאשר דיבר לך וכאשר נשבע לאבותיך לאברהם ליצחק וליעקב ולא ייתכם לברכם אנוכי כורת את הברית הזאת ואת העלה הזאת כי את אשר ישנו פה עמנו עומד היום לפני אדוני אלוהינו ואת אשר איננו פה עמנו היום.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu torat emet v'chaye olam natan b'tochenu Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
For the second Aliyah, we have Ganila Kester reading, and we're actually moving forward in the Torah. You don't want to know what's in between here. And we're going to go to a nicer section, which is about Zot HaBrocha. You don't see it in your text, it goes right away. But now we have to find it. Okay, let's see. Vayakiyavo, what is it?
Mitzvah hazot.
There should be a space here.
Oh, there we go.
See, I know.
So, and I'd like to call up Dan and Sherry and Anya Kester. Yamdu, Kester family, Lalia Hasheni. So take Alice, you want to touch over there?
Baruch Adonai Hamvarah.
Baruch
Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Hamim, Benatan Lanu et Torato, Baruch Atah Adonai, Noten HaTorah.
And we're on verse 11 on 267.
Can I stand on this?
Amen. Ki hamitzvah zot asher anochi mitzavecha hayom lo nifleti mimecha velo rechoka hi lo vashamayim hi lemor mi yalelanu hashamayma v'yikach elanu v'yashminu ota v'nasena v'lo me'ever layam hi lemor mi yafor lanu el ever hayam v'yikach elanu v'yashminu ota v'nasena ki karov elecha hadavar me'od beficha u'belvavecha lasoto.
Baruch Atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Asher natan lanu Torat emet, v'hayei olam natan b'tohenu. Baruch Atah Adonai, Noten HaTorah.
For the third aliyah, we are going to invite up Gwen Lowinger for the aliyah, and Nick Lowinger is the Torah reader. We're starting on verse 15 at the very bottom of 267.
Baruch Adonai, Baruch Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol hamim v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Re'eh natati lefanecha hayom et hachaim v'et hatov v'et hamavet v'et hara asher anochi metzavecha hayom la'ahava et Adonai Elohecha la'alechet b'drachav v'lishmor mitzvotav v'hukotav u'mishpatav v'hayita v'ravita u'v'rechecha Adonai Elohecha ba'aretz asher ata v'shama lirishta v'im yifne levavecha v'lo tishma v'nidachta v'hashtachavita le'elohim acherim va'avdatam Higadati lachem hayom ki avod tov edun lo ta'arechun yamim al ha'adama asher ata over et hayarden lavo shama lirishta hidoti bachem hayom et hashamayim v'et haaretz hachaim v'hamavet Natati lefanecha habracha v'hakelala uvaharta b'chaim lema'an tihyeh eta v'zareach le'ahava et Adonai Elohecha lishmoa bekolo Uldov kavo, ki hu chayecha, ve'orech yamecha, l'shevet al ha'adamah, asher nishba Adonai le'avotecha, la'Abraham li'tak, u'Yakov lateit lahem.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu torat emet, v'chayei olam natan b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen. All right, why don't you stay up here? We're going to transition, and I think you're going to stay here with me. We're going to do our prayer for healing now. Yeah, where is it? Oh, I have it right here. And our prayer for healing is on page 272. I'm going to read our list of healing. Judy Bardock, Bobby DeBruin, Lynn Dubowitz, Sarah Freed, Howard Hilfstein, Greg Hill, Roxanne Cohn, Cindy Lieber, Bob McDonald, Joe Ostroff, Stan Polanski, Howard Rosenhawk, Flora Snee, Deborah Sorensen, Irv Sugar, and Stephen Zoller. We'll go around, and if you have other names.
Dolores Schroeder and Susan Schroeder. Adrian Feldman. Donald Cornell. Isai Garfin. Jack Garfin. Jill Hamilton, Sheila Chato. Nancy Cohen. Sylvia Bonelli. Wolfgang Max.
Sheni bracha bal Abraham. Shalom.
We take all those names in our heart as cantor and choir lead us in our prayer.
We pray for healing of the body. We pray for healing of the soul, for strength of flesh and mind and spirit. We pray
healing of body and soul. We do have our healing service as well at 4:30 that Linda and Adrian will be leading. I'm going to invite up the Kermans, Larry and Gail, to lift our Torah and to dress it. And as they do, please rise. Just get it over the lip. Push seated. We used to have a creative service and a standard service. We've since incorporated things from both of them. I'm really proud, and our cantor, who often is always looking for wonderful things to surprise our community. She's found this new version of our Haftorah, and she's going to say a little bit more about it. And it's going to be a team because Harvey over here is going to be doing the blessing for us.
So look for these sheets that were handed out to you. This is a modern day, word for word translation of our Haftarah. I've been listening to this Haftarah my whole life, and I'd say probably the last 5 years I have begun to really listen to it and to struggle with it. And I'm confused as to the voice. Is Isaiah mad? Is God mad? Are the people mad? Is everybody angry during this? Where are the voices that go back and forth? Accusations, anger, and then also relief that there's possibility for teshuvah, for changing things. So this prophetic reading really speaks to me, and this translation by Arthur Waskow is brilliant. So I've been looking for a year for something to incorporate that has that spirit of our creative service, because I'm so proud of our history and that aspect of us that has this, not only do we have this traditional service, but we always had this, well, not always, but quite into the past, we've had these creative services that have been questioning, and we've used a myriad of singer, composer, folk music. It's been piano-driven, it's been guitar-driven, it's been band-driven by our house band. I mean, we've constantly changed it around to try to find the voice that speaks to us in that year. And it turned out that the song that I was looking for, that the piece that I needed and that I couldn't find, was in my pocketbook. Because I had attended a convention and I had heard this a cantor, Abby Lyons, and she had presented this brilliant piece called, let's see, the Ninevites are just like me. So I loved it, and I bought her album, and of course you know how things go in pocketbooks, right? Like, well, you know, you change your pocketbooks, but you throw everything from one pocketbook into the other, right? So One day I was in the car and I said, let me put this album on, and I heard this piece. And I said, this is the way to not only incorporate my feelings towards this Haftarah, but also to bring it to light, to cause us to ask those difficult questions, to look into it, and to incorporate the spirit of the creative service with our Shir Ranal, with our choir, with two pianists. We have Paul Staley here and Ken Kaufman on the baby grand. And hope you enjoy.
The blessing before the Haftarah can be found on page 275 in the Machzor. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar bin v'im tovim v'ratza v'divreihem hane'emarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai Abocher b'Torah Ov Moshe Avdo Ov Yisrael Amo Ovin V'ei Ha'emet V'Tzedek. You can follow along with the Haftarah using the handout and the gray paper that you received.
And we won't be doing all of it. I will be skipping on the second page, so just follow along or just listen.
Kira v'garon al tachsoch kashofar harem kolecha v'haged le'ami pisham levet Yaakov chatotam.
Cry out loud, don't hold back.
Lift up your voice like a shofar.
Tell my people what they're doing wrong. Tell them that they'll call themselves the house of Jacob their misdeeds. For day after day, they go out searching for me. They take some kind of pleasure in getting to know my ways, as if they were a people that actually did righteous deeds and never ignored the just rulings of their God. They keep asking me for the rules of justice, as if they would take delight in being close to God. They say,
Why is it that we have fasted and you don't see our suffering? We press down our egos, but you don't pay attention. We press down our egos, but you don't pay attention. Look!
on the very day you fast, you keep scrabbling for wealth.
On the very day you fast, you keep pressing all your workers. Look!
You fast in strife, you fast in contention. You strike
With a wicked fist, you are not fasting today in such a way as to make your voices heard unheard.
Is that the kind of fast that I desire? Is that really a day for people to burst out sackcloth and ashes. Is that what you call a fast day? The kind of day that the God of the burning bush would wish?
No! This is the kind of fast that I desire.
Unlock the handcuffs put on by wicked power. Untie the ropes of the yoke. Let the oppressed go free. Break off every yoke.
Share your bread with the hungry. Bring the poor, the outcast to your house. When you see them naked, clothe them. They are your flesh and blood. Don't hide yourself from them. Then your light will burst through like the dawn. Then when you need healing, it will spring up quickly. Then your own righteousness will march ahead to guide you. And obedience from God will reach out behind to guard you. Then when you cry out, God will answer. Then when you call, God will say, "Hineni, Hiroya." If you banish the yoke from your midst, if you rid yourself of scornful finger pointing and words of contempt, if you open up your life experience to the hungry and soothe the life that has been trampled underfoot, if you refrain from trampling my renewal time and from being busy, busy, busy on my holy day, if you not only call renewal time delightful, but also turn far from your usual way and set aside your business and your chapter to be yourselves the rays by which God's holiness can turn this world into a reading then you will indeed find delight in God. For then, when you
Blessing after the Haftarah can be found on page 280 in your Machzor, Mishkan HaNefesh. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam tzur kol haolamim tzaddik bechol hadorot ha'el hane'eman ha'omer v'yoseh ha'medaber u'mekayem shekol devarav emet v'tzedek al haTorah v'al ha'avodah v'al ha'nevi'im v'al yom ha'kippurim hazeh shenatata lanu Adonai Eloheinu limchila v'lislicha u'lechapara lechavod u'letifaret al hakol Adonai Eloheinu anachnu modim lach umevarechim otach yitbarach shimcha befi kol chai tamid leolam va'ed udevarecha emet v'kayam la'ad Baruch atah Adonai Melech mochel v'solech la'avonotenu v'la'avonot amo beit Yisrael u'ma'avir hashmotenu b'chol shana v'shana Melech al kol haaretz mekadesh Yisrael Melech al kol haaretz mekadesh Yisrael Melech al kol haaretz mekadesh Yisrael ve'yom ha'kippurim
We turn back in our Machzor to page 290. We have Deborah and Ed Fine to open and close our ark. I invite everyone to rise as we put our Torah away.
Yehalelu et Shem Adonai, ki nizkav shemo levado.
Be seated. I'd like to introduce our synagogue president, Bruce Korus, to introduce the High Holy Day Appeal.
Shana Tova. Oh boy, it's that time again. People watching the stream are probably turning up their volume going, Ethel, come quick, it's the High Holiday Appeal. Get my checkbook. Okay. I know it's not the favorite part of the service, but annual giving campaign is so important to this temple. And by the way, this year's campaign comes as we mark a milestone. This building is 60 years old this month. The first service was held here in October 1959. I was 3 years old. My parents had to carry me up to the bema so I could do the announcements, which I couldn't even read anyway. Anyway, I think many of us who are around the same age as this building can relate to it. We have plumbing issues. Our wiring shorts out from time to time. Our foundations are not as solid as they used to be. But if we take care of ourselves, hopefully we can avoid major repairs. Which brings me to why I'm here. As you know, our dues alone do not cover all of our expenses. Everything we need to do, and certainly everything that we want to do, including improvements to a 60-year-old building and things to enhance your experience as members, and be here for you however you need us, for good times and bad, religious and spiritual needs, education for your children and you, programs, events, and of course food. We like to do that. And helping our members in need. Not to mention nurturing our members, like the ones you're about to hear from. Mark Finkelstein grew up at Temple Sinai. Marina Finkelstein, who will share her story, grew up Catholic. But when she converted to Judaism, she embraced it, and her temple embraced her, just like Congregation Shir Shalom has always embraced, nurtured, and supported its members. Annual giving helps us to do that. Marina and Mark have experienced and contributed to the many ways a temple can be here for its members. One of the best things for me about our merger was all the people who came together to help Congregation Shir Shalom become and continue to be that type of temple, including Drs. Mark and Marina Finkelstein.
Lashana Tova.
Lashana Tova. We are the Finkelsteins. I'm Mark, and this is my wife, Marina. We're honored to chair the Congregation Shir Shalom annual giving campaign this year. Well, you kind of dragged me into it. Our president, Bruce Corris, thinks we have a good story to tell, so here we go.
I did not grow up Jewish. I am a first-generation Italian-American, raised on the west side of Buffalo by Italian Catholic parents Josue and Marie Maulucci. My Italian-born father immigrated to Canada in the 1950s because he had family just across the border in Fort Erie, Ontario. Though my mom was born in Buffalo, her mother, my grandma, was born in the same tiny little town as my dad. How cool. I met Mark Finkelstein as we attended podiatry-related meetings in the mid-1980s. We were just starting out in our profession, and he was so funny and cute, and I couldn't resist. I had big hair and wide shoulder pads, and I chased him for 3 years. Frankly, I didn't even think about the Jewish Catholic thing until we decided to get married. I didn't think he cared all that much about religion. Well, it turned out he did. I remember Mark saying he wanted Jewish children.
Jews are a minority with our numbers shrinking, and it wouldn't be right for us not to have Jewish children.
I was conflicted. I was a modern practicing Catholic and went to church regularly. Anyway, I thought about it, I prayed about it, and concluded that God is God. And as long as my future kids had faith and a connection to God, I would be content. Yay.
It was decided. We agreed to raise Jewish kids. We had both a rabbi and a priest marry us, and we started going to each other's place of worship for big holidays like Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur and Christmas Eve midnight mass. It would be okay for Marina to put up a Christmas tree as long as it was not put out in the front window. It was done. We were a mixed faith married couple.
In the following years, I learned a lot about Judaism. When we had our children, Joshua and Leah, I had lots of questions about how to be a good mother to Jewish children. I remember vividly knocking on Rabbi Barry Schwartz's door and asking if it was okay for me to tell my kids to say a prayer for the person in the ambulance that went blaring by. After all, when I was a kid, my mom always told me to say a quick Hail Mary whenever we heard sirens. Of course, he said yes. He also gave me a book to read. It was called The Book of Jewish Values by Rabbi Joseph Telushkin. It's a great book and has 365 short lessons about Jewish values, which I still enjoy looking at today. So, much like many of the mixed faith couples here at Shir Shalom, we raised our primarily Jewish children with both Jewish and Christian holidays. Here's a question to those interfaith families. Remember the day you had to really explain to your kid that Christmas wasn't their holiday? I do. It was awful. Temple Sinai had these cool videos about Jewish holidays for kids, kind of a Jewish Muppets thing. Anyway, Joshua and Leah watched the Hanukkah video that talked about how the Christian kids had Christmas and the Jewish kids did Hanukkah. Joshua, about age 7, had questions. Mom, we're Jewish, right? Yes. Then Christmas really isn't our holiday? Well, no, not exactly. Sweetie, you share Christmas with me and Nonny and Nono, Grandma and Grandpa in Italian. I was sad and surprised to see major tears rolling down his face, rocking on the bed before calming down. Mom, are there any other holidays that really aren't ours? Gulp. I guess Easter? The two best ones, Mom. The two best ones. Crying and rocking in my arms, Mark walked into the room. What's going on? I said, we're having the biggest darn Hanukkah party this year. That's what's going on. I was determined. I planned this huge party, and all the neighbors, who of course weren't Jewish, were invited, along with our Jewish friends. When we went looking for decorations for Hanukkah, Mark warned me that I'd be disappointed, and there would not be much stuff ready-made for this mega Hanukkah party I was planning. I too was learning the truth, that Jews are a minority. I got creative out of necessity, and it was a great party. Anyway, over the years, as the mother of Jewish kids, I spent more time at Temple, and I became more involved. My mother-in-law, Alva Finkelstein, and my sister-in-law, Elaine Green, were very active in Temple Sinai's Women's Club. They brought me along, and eventually, somehow, I was Women's Club president for many years, until I, somehow, brought Jill Hamilton along to take over. As life goes, we all have days and times where life is difficult or challenging. While facing a particularly difficult time, I found a profound need for religion and prayer. Through that crisis, I leaned on my Judaism, such that it was. I felt better, and I knew it was time to talk with Rabbi Jamie Arnold. So, after 13 years of being married to the love of my life and 10 years of raising my Jewish children, I converted to Judaism. The process was wonderful, the study was intense, and the decision was deeply personal. I fell in love with the freedom of Reconstruction Judaism, the sense of ownership of our traditions, and the community of members who supported each other, both in and out of the temple. Plus, no pope. Once I converted and was officially a member of the tribe, the leadership at Temple Sinai asked me to work on the temple board, and the rest, as they say, is history. In 2012, we established Congregation Shir Shalom. I was fortunate to be a part of this historic merger and these early conversations. We were anxious about the merger, but all involved knew it would benefit both congregations and that we would be stronger together. We were moved to accomplish this merger out of love and respect for our individual traditions and communities. And here we are, and it's 2019. How fantastic it is that we've been together for 7 years. The 7-year anniversary is wool or copper, so maybe we should all knit each other some socks. Anyway, mazel tov to us. We are at a point where we share our reform and reconstructing Judaism well. We are truly one synagogue with many paths and opportunities to express our Judaism. Some members join us for Friday evening services or Saturday morning services and Bible study. Some members prefer to join us primarily on high holy days or to attend educational opportunities or to work on bingo or rummage sales. Some of us come by more often as we need healing or a family member needs healing. We can find solace in the voice of Cantor Frank and in the words and counsel of Rabbi Alex. Congregation Shir Shalom is here to fill our Jewish needs as our needs develop. If we want more, we can show up and gain more. Together we have celebrated B'nai Mitzvot, weddings, births, anniversaries, successes, and achievements with our members happily since July of 2012. Sadly, however, over these 7 years, we have lost a significant amount of financial support from many extremely dedicated members of our synagogue due to illness, death, and relocation to other areas of the country. The impact of this financial loss cannot go unnoticed. I fell in love with a Jew and then fell in love with Judaism. Mark and I are firmly embedded in our commitment to Congregation Shir Shalom. We support Congregation Shir Shalom both financially and through volunteering. We do it out of a realization that dues are not enough to support all that Shir Shalom needs to exist.
The dues which we all pay are important for the stability of Congregation Shir Shalom. However, by design, the dues only provide a portion of the needed funds to run our successful and busy synagogue. Dues provide only about 60% of what is needed to run Shir Shalom. We count on your help through our annual giving campaign. As you know, at this time of year, we usually remind you of the traditional synagogue expenses, including maintaining our physical building, paying our staff and clergy, and running our wide variety of programs. Now, in 2019, we have additional expenses that we need to discuss about securing our safety and the safety of our synagogue and school. We all know that anti-Semitism is on the rise in the world and in the United States. We are shocked and yes, frightened by the mass shootings of Jews in synagogues, specifically the Tree of Life congregation in Pittsburgh on October 27, 2018, and the Poway Synagogue in San Diego on April 27, 2019. Shir Shalom led the way in working towards securing our temple. Our synagogue leaders have been doing an outstanding job increasing our security and are working to keep us safe. We cannot, and in fact are not, taking the possibility of anti-Semitic attacks occurring here lightly. Jews must be visible and visibly supportive of our synagogue to show the community around us that we are still here and plan on being here for a very long time. Shir Shalom did not cancel our outdoor services under the tent this summer, and we're not hiding our students in the building when they can enjoy learning together in the outside environment that we have. We are being wise and safe. Understand that the modest assessment for a security fund is still not enough to provide for the expenses we will incur to secure our families and friends here at Shir Shalom. Your financial support for this annual campaign is more than just money. It's an outward sign of your full commitment to our synagogue and our community.
Give, because you know Congregation Shir Shalom is here for you and that we count on the generous support of our members at this time of year. Give, because you know that whatever your tradition, background, or financial ability, you are welcome here and can find that you are home here, whatever that means for you. Give, because you are a Jew, or you love a Jew, or you support Judaism.
So, if you haven't already done so, take out your green ticket, which is your donation card, and fold down the amount that you're willing to give to support our synagogue this year. A second method, if you don't have your green ticket, which you would need to get in today, so you have your green ticket, is to use the mail-in form for your contribution. Now, I challenge you this year. Most of us fold down one tab, kind of cover it up and pass it to the end of the row. I challenge you to pick a tab to the right of what you did last year, or I challenge you to put what you put last year and to fold 2 additional tabs to the left so that your total contribution is increased and taken into account. The members of the board are coming around to collect your tickets. Thank you for your generous donations. Lashana Tova.
about you, but I needed some tissues there. Someone asked, what happened to the lion? The lion was, they had the fiery lion, the Yetzer Hara, just so you know, it got set free. But they did stab out its eyes before they let go. Page 294. After the appeal, we have the appeals of our hearts. And we read together on 294, hear our call. Hear our call, Adonai our God, show us compassion. Accept our prayer with love and goodwill. Take us back, Adonai, let us come back to you. Renew our days as in the past. Hear our words, Adonai, understand our unspoken thoughts. May the speech of our mouth and our heart's quiet prayer be acceptable to you, Adonai, our rock and our redeemer. Do not cast us away from your presence or cut us off from your Holy Spirit. Do not cast us away when we are old as our strength diminishes. Do not forsake us. Do not forsake us, Adonai. Be not far from us, our God. With hope, Adonai, we await you. Surely you, Adonai, our God, you will answer.
voices and our prayers may come to reach you.
That our voices and our prayers may come to reach you.
Bring us back to you. Bring us closer to finding you. As we turn to you, as we learn from you. Kadesh Yameinu, renew our days.
Renew our days once
On 296, we turn to the Vidui, the confessional prayer. I invite you to rise.
Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Yemotenu, Tavo Levhanecha, Tefilata Adonai Eloheinu, צדיקים אנחנו, ולא חטאנו,
And we lightly lightly tap our chest as we say the Vidu. Standing on page 305 as I invite Tom and Carrie Moscato to read for us the top prayer. It's here.
My wife can't be seen because they moved the stuff for her.
I know. I didn't want you to stand on it.
I don't need to stand on it. What a beautiful service, and I'd like to thank all who contributed for focusing as we have on this beautiful day. We focused inward, narrowing our vision. We were preoccupied with ourselves.
We turned our backs on the poor and defenseless. We were contemptuous of the weak.
We tolerated violence against children, neglect of the old, exploitation of the innocent. We told ourselves there was nothing we could do.
We wasted the resources of the earth. We denied our own responsibility and put it out of our minds.
We kept silent when we should have spoken out. We gave in to cynicism and despair.
We sought entertainment instead of enlightenment. We were lazy, indifferent, and callous.
We forgave ourselves too easily for our failures. We forgot that we always have a choice.
And we turn to the bottom of page 306. In response to what Tom and Carrie read, we read the very final line. For all these failures of judgment and will, God of forgiveness, forgive us, pardon us, leave us to atonement. Be seated. Page 310. Page 310. Ki anu amecha. To invite up Bruce Chorus to give our announcements.
Lashana Tova again. Thank you to Rabbi Alex, Cantor Frank, Paul Staley, our professional choir, Shiruna, and special guest Ken Kaufman for a wonderful, meaningful, and musical service. We thank you all for your patience in the parking lot. Please follow the parking attendants and be patient as you leave. We know that having one service makes us a little challenge for parking, and it takes a little time, extra time to leave, and we don't want to play bumper cars out there at all. So please, it's just so wonderful to have this room filled like this. The powerful music is just so much more powerful when we have a full room like this. It makes our high holidays so much more meaningful. Thank you for that. We're not done for the day. We have an afternoon filled with services. Reflections will take place in the sanctuary at 12:30. This year we have all of the Shir Shalom members who had My View columns published in the last year to share their stories. Family service at 3, Yizkor service is at 5:45. There's a complete listing, obviously, in the newsletter or on your ticket. If you made a reservation for break fast for this evening, please remember to bring your ticket with you. If you have not returned a bag filled with food for the Food Bank of Western New York, now known as Feed More Western New York, you still have time to do that this afternoon when you come back. Thank you to Sherry Kester and our youth group for assembling the bags. That is a wonderful, wonderful mitzvah that we do. A couple of things coming up that you should know about. The Women of Shir Shalom, the men's group, and the youth group are having their membership drives, so please support them. The Women of Shir Shalom paid-up luncheon is on Saturday, November 16th. It's a complimentary luncheon, so RSVP for that. The men's group will be building the Temple Sukkah this coming Sunday morning, October 13th, 9 o'clock a.m. Volunteers, obviously, will be appreciated. Youth group is going to be going apple picking on Sunday, September 23rd. Sherry is here if anyone has any questions about that. Also, the pod will arrive, I believe, tomorrow. The pod will arrive tomorrow for the Women of Shir Shalom rummage sale, which will be the end of October. So please plan on bringing your stuff in for that. Gemar Hatima Tova, may you be sealed in the book of life. A happy new year, a healthy new year, a peaceful new year. L'Shana Tova.
If you are fasting, just make sure to go easy. Everyone is welcome to stay in our building if you don't want to go home. And we are going to be concluding on page 318. As you leave the service, you can return your maksarim to the front as well. And a Shana Tova, an easy and healthy and happy fast.
Hayom, hayom, hayom te'amsenu, hayom te'amsenu, amen. Hayom, hayom, hayom tevachenu, tevarchenu, amen. Hayom, hayom tegadleinu, hayom tegadleinu, amen. Hayom, hayom tidrashenu, tova, amen. Hayom, hayom, hayom tichtevenu, lechaim tovim, amen. Hayom, hayom, tishma shavatenu, tishma shavatenu, amen. Hayom titzmerchenu, b'min tzidkecha, tzidkecha, amen. Hayom, hayom titmechenu, b'min tzidkecha, amen.
Good Yontif.